So hello everyone. Today we are going to discuss how to data engineer work in the company and request to watch video up to in for clear understanding. So in previous I was discussed some content. Let me show that. So first content I was discuss how to data engineer profile come into picture and work of the data engineer team and flow of the data pipeline. So all this theory content you can check in the description, link is available there. So today we are going to discuss different mode of the developing data pipeline. So let's start. First to all, please watch previous video also, so you will get the clear understanding. So let's start the different mode of the developing data pipeline. Okay, yeah. So different mode of the developing data pipeline. So here we have the mode developing of data pipeline. So first is the development mode. So this is the initial state where the data engineer design, prototype and implement the data pipeline. Then focus on building and testing the pipeline logic, ensure that it is effective, extract, transform and load the data from source to destination. So first mode is a development mode. Here what happen, we can initiate our data pipeline and we create our data pipeline prototype, and also we use some sample data for testing, and then we focus on the whatever the logic we implement in data pipeline, they are working fine or not, and then data will moving from source to destination or not. Then second is the testing mode. So in testing mode, once the development is complete, the pipeline enter into testing mode. Engineer perform various tests including unit test, integration test and end-to-end test to validate the pipeline functionality, performance and reliability. They must use sample data and synthetic data set for testing purpose. So here, after the development completed by developers, then there is a testing team or engineer only. They are also, so they mainly test the things like they test the logic. They use some sample data and they test the data pipeline are working and fine or not as per logic and as per business requirement. And then they also have some other tests like unit test, integration test, and end-to-end test that all need to validate as per requirement. Then only it will move forward. If the things are not move forward, like if the things are not working fine here in testing mode only, then testing team will work with the development team and they send the mail to development team, the things are not working as per logic, so please check into it. And then again development team go on the development mode and check the things again, and then they will send to testing team. So let's move next slide. So after the testing mode is completed, we will come with the three. Third is a staging mode. So in a staging mode, after successfully testing, the pipeline move to a staging environment where it undergo further validation and verification. This environment closely resembles the production environment, allowing the engineer to simulate real world conditions and identify the any issue or bottleneck before deployment. So like before deployment the any code or any data pipeline into production, we come into a staging mode. So here both testing team, developing team and client also check the all the logic are validated or not. All they use the real time data, like they use a big file that things are working or not. If there is any issue or any bottleneck are come in deployment, then they will again send to testing team, and then testing team again check the things, and if the issue again coming in testing team also, so they will change in developer mode. So developer team will check there. So a staging mode is just before the production one. So here all the testing, developer and a client will involve. After the staging mode, main is the deployment mode. This is called the real-time code where things will work. So once the pipeline is thoroughly tested and validated, it is deployed into the production environment. And this involves deploying code change and configuring infrastructure and ensure that all the dependencies are properly set up. Deployment process may vary depending on the organization, DevOps practice and deployment strategies. So deployment mode is one of the production mode where the data pipeline deploy and it will work with the real data, like real data set. So in deployment mode, it will schedule some job and it will get the trigger as time required. So in deployment mode, after the all the case pass in the developer by and test team and a staging mode, then it only deploy in the development mode. If the things will not work in a staging mode or testing or developer mode, then it will not deploy in the production. And production and deployment mode are same. In mainly organization we call in production. So guys, let's move the next slide. So next slide. Yeah. So here is the title, different type of cloud service mainly used in data engineer field. Like we have the lot of cloud service like AWS, GCP and Azure, Oracle, but mainly we use three services, cloud services in data engineer field in many organizations. So in this field of the data engineer, professional often work with the various cloud computing provider to leverage their service for data storage, processing, analytics, machine learning. Here are some of the main cloud company commonly used by the data engineer. So first is the AWS, we call Amazon Web Service. So AWS is one of the leading cloud service provider offering a wide range of the services for data engineer tasks. And popular AWS services for data engineering include AWS 3 for object storage like in distributed manner, and then we have the Amazon REST for data warehousing, and AWS Glue for ETL, stack transform and load, and then we have the Amazon EMR for big data processing in form of the Hadoop, and then we have the AWS Lambda for serverless computing. So here is we discuss about the AWS, and here is some services that mainly be used in our data engineer. Use like Amazon S3, Amazon Redshift, AWS Glue, Amazon EMR that we all use in data engineer. Let's move in the next slide. So second is Microsoft Azure. So Azure is another major player in the cloud computing and market, providing a comprehensive set of various services for data engineering and analytics. So common Azure services for data engineer include Azure Blobs Storage for objects stored in distributed manner, and then we have Azure SQL database for relational database management, and then we have services like Azure Data Factory for data integration and orchestration. Then we have the Azure HD Insight for big data processing, and we and Azure Machine Learning for building and deploying AI module. And one of the main services that Azure Databricks that mainly used by data engineer in for running the Spark. So Azure Databricks is a fast, easy and collaborative Apache Spark based big data analytics services designed for data science and data engineer. So Azure Databricks is one of the main services that mainly we use in Azure. And then a lot of other services we have like we use the like Azure HD inside Azure Data Factory for ingestion the data, and then we have used the Azure Blob Storage for store the data in form of the object in distributed manner. So let's move the next slide. And the third player of the like cloud services is Google Cloud Platform Service. So we mainly called GCP. So GCP offer a suite of the cloud computing services that data engineer can utilize for various data related tasks. So here is some key services for data engineer include Google Cloud Storage for object storage, like our data will store in form of the object in distributed manner, and then when we have the BigQuery for data warehousing and analytics, one of the main services, and then we have the service like Google Cloud Data Follow for data processing and ETL, and then one of the main services Google Bigtable for non-SQL data storage, and then Google Cloud API AI platform for machine learning. And Google Cloud Data Prod. This one is Data Prod is a managed services for running Apache, Hadoop and a Spark job. It can be used for big data processing and machine learning. Data Prod mainly we use the big data processing and machine learning. Move the next slide. Yeah, this one is one of the main important for data engineer and big data developer. So here is a list of technology need to learn become a good data engineer. So first, becoming a professional data engineer involve mastery a combination of technical skill and tool. Here are list of the technology and concept you will likely need to learn to excel in the data field. So first is a programming language. So you learn at least one programming language among the Python, Scala, or Java. But I mainly recommended learn Python language because Python widely used in Apache Spark, large data processing, data manipulation, scripting, machine learning, AI, and building data pipeline. So first is the programming language. You know at least one programming language. So I mainly recommend go for the Python because Python widely used in many services, and again it will go for the machine learning, AI, data scientist. So let's move the next slide. And second is a structured query language, SQL. So SQL is one of the more essential for querying and working with the relational database, widely used in various tools related to data field. So SQL is one of the more important, like one of the main like tool for data engineer that mainly used for querying. So I mainly recommend go for SQL also and learn up to medium level to become a data engineer. A lot of new technology are coming on, also old technology that mainly based on the SQL. And apart from that, your third is the big data technology you have to learn. For that, you have to know the concept of Apache Hadoop. Like Apache Hadoop is a framework for distributing a storage and processing the large data set. And then the one of the main important is Apache Spark. So Apache Spark is a mainly processing the data like in-memory data processing engine for big data analytics and ETL. ETL is a extract, transform, and load. So Apache Spark is one of the main things that you have to learn during the becoming a big data engineer. And then Apache Kafka. So distributed streaming platform for building a real-time data pipeline that mainly we can go like whenever we processing the data like real time and so there we can use the Kafka. How we can call we whenever we streaming the data, streaming in just real time data we are getting from source to our like our distribution system. And then we have the Apache Airflow, the workflow management tool for orchestration complex data pipeline. That mainly Airflow are the mainly used for scheduling our tasks and our job. So let's move the next slide. And the fourth is the cloud computing. So learn at least any one cloud services mentioned below. Either you can go for the AWS, that familiarity with the AWS like services S3, Redshift, Glue, EMR, and then either you can also go Microsoft Azure. So understanding of Azure services like flops storage, SQL data warehouse, data factory, and for the Google Cloud Platform. GCP, knowledge of the GCP service like BigQuery, cloud storage, data flow, that should be. So in cloud computing, you have to know at least one services like either you can go for the AWS or Microsoft Azure or Google Cloud. But my recommendation go for the Microsoft Azure because Microsoft Azure are more requirement in current situation and in many organizations. So let's move the next slide. So fifth is the data modeling and warehouse. So data modeling, knowledge of the fact and dimension data modeling, concept of the different type of schema used in the data modeling. So data modeling is one of the main part that you need to learn. how the what the fact table, what is the dimension table, like dimension data, and how, what a schema should be used to store this type of data. Like there is the snowflake schema, star schema. So you have to learn the data model. And then data warehousing is like understanding the designing and building the data warehousing for analytics query. So like above one is a basic to come into data engineer field, but many technology need to learn slowly. Like all five technology that I discussed previously, like data modeling and cloud computing, and then big data technology, then SQL, a structured query language, and one for any programming language, mainly Python. So these all are the basic. If you want to come into data engineer, no, so you have to go through all these five technology. But whenever you become the data engineer, then slowly you have to learn a lot of other technology new coming, that like a snowflake is coming, so you have to learn the snowflake also. But before that you have to go through all five mentioned above. So thank you for watching, and stay tuned, and request you all, please subscribe and support my channel.